Hello, this is Malar. We are going to watch Malar's class. Today I am going to teach about Aristotle. So first I am going to tell about his life and his works. So everybody knows Aristotle is the greatest philosopher and scientist. So he is the Plato's student and as well as he is the teacher of Alexander the Great. So the main thing is what's special in Aristotle? He is the founder of Lyceum. Do you know the meaning of Lyceum? Lyceum was based on Apollo's name. Actually, his full name is Apollo Lysias. His grove was there, and Aristotle students used to settle in the grove for teaching, for learning, and for discussing all the subjects. Okay, and this Lyceum name was given by the students to the particular place because the grove was there, so that they used to sit there for discussing the subjects. Usually they had a walk to the place. So this is called peripatetics. Peri means around and pattern means to walk. So they used to walk to the place to discuss about the subject. In that time, Aristotle taught many subjects included metaphysics, zoology, logic, ethics, aesthetics, poetry, theatre, music, etc. Okay. And his 18th age, he joined Plato's academy and he studied there till age 37. When we are thinking about Plato and Aristotle, both are something different. Plato is an idealist and Aristotle is an artist. Aristotle teaches Alexander the Great. In that time, he had some peculiar thoughts which are different from Plato. So, Aristotle told art is an imitation of an action that is noble and serious. But Plato's view is something different. He told art is an imitation of an imitation thrice removed from reality. So both are different. Am I right? And then Aristotle is an expert in physics. Do you know? He's the greatest scientist. Okay. And he is well knowledgeable person in politics. He was the first comprehensive maker of Western philosophy, and Aristotle is a famous person for his famous works. His notable works are rhetoric and poetics. His critical theories can be found in these two places. First, I am going to tell about rhetoric. So, rhetoric is based on philosophical account. That is about some poetical scientific views and some general thoughts about poetry. And then poetics is something different from rhetoric. That is about practical account of poetics, and elements of poetry was given very detailed in poetics. Okay, and he had written epic poetry, tragedy, music, dithyrambic poetry, uh, something different from object, manner, and as well as thought. Okay. When Aristotle says about the poetry, he says that is also some imitation. Okay, so music imitates a rhythm and harmony, dance imitates rhythm alone, poetry imitates the language, and comedy imitates the men, those who are poor in knowledge or they are below average, and tragedy imitates the people better in knowledge, and that is the people about above average level. Okay, and these poetics work was done in 330 BC. Here he has discussed about comedy and tragedy. Aristotle says a tragedy is something superior than comedy. He has given importance to tragedy and he respects tragedy. Okay, he likes. And in tragedy, he has found six elements. Do you know what are they? That of fable. Fable means plot. Ethos, which means character. Mythos, that means thought. Lexis, that is called diction. And opsis, which means spectacle. And melos, which means music. When he says about plot, he says plot is the soul of a tragedy. Do you know why? It can be given in two ways: simple plot and complex plot. When he says about plot, he expects something there: astonishment and recognition and suffering should be there in the plot he feels. And he says a plot has to have some ironic twist, that is called a reversal, which means good from evil or evil from good. And then he needs to find anagnorisis. Do you know the meaning for anagnorisis? That is called recognition, which means ignorance to knowledge. He says a plot has to have some painful action. It has to create some pity and fear on audience. Okay? That is called catharsis. And he says about character. In character, he says four main things. The hero should be as a nobleman. In our daily cinemas, we are watching different type of characters as heroes. When we see these characters to Aristotle character, that is something different. Do you know why? He expects the hero should be as nobleman and he has to truthful to his life and he has to have some good personality at manly valor and he has the good character as consistent. Okay, and especially Aristotle was influenced by Euripides and Sophocles. So Euripides had written Medea, Hecuba, Ion, the Trojan woman, Helen, Electra, etc. And he introduced chorus. Okay, when he says about Sophocles, he likes his works as Antigone, Oedipus the king, Ajax, etc. In his Poetics, Aristotle says 26 chapters. In these 26 chapters, he has discussed about epic poetry, dithyrambic poetry, iambic poetry, and nomic poetry. When he says epic poetry is something different from tragedy and it follows only one type of meter. So when we have the heroic measure, that is called hexameter. And this epic poetry is also having some imitations as it imitates noblemen. It does not use any songs there. Okay. And when he says about dithyrambic poetry, that is a song and verse drama that is used to honor god Dionysus. God Dionysus represents god of wine and fertility. And then he says about iambic poetry. Iambic poetry is type of verse drama. It is a traditional poetry and it is called natural speech rhythm. And when he says about nomic poetry, it comprises lyrics and it has some choral songs at religious festivals. It played a main role in the development of tragedy. Okay? Okay, dears. So, we are going to discuss about the next chapters as well as the technical terms. Aristotle has used some technical terms mimesis, catharsis, hamartia, spoudius, anagnorisis, denouement. Mimesis means imitation and catharsis means purification. Hamartia means tragic flaw. This has another one meaning like error in judgment. And spoudius means noble character. Anagnorisis already I said recognition. And denouement means solution or climax. Okay? And the chapters will be discussed later in our upcoming sessions. Thank you. Thank you for watching Malar's class.